Hello YouTube, this is CapriciousBlackBox. I've tried a couple of times to make a YouTube video and I haven't been very happy with the results. Certainly mad props to all you vloggers out there who produce such polished and wonderful videos. I had a lot of respect for you before, I have a lot more now. But I sort of feel like the subject matter is rather important, so I'm going to just go ahead and throw this out there and we'll just see what happens. If anybody likes it, I might continue the series, and if I don't get much response or I get a real negative response, that might be enough for me. I got a pretty busy life and a lot of work to do, so we'll just see how this goes. The subject matter that I did want to bring up is the presuppositional apologetics of Cy Tenbergen Kate and some of his other henchmen, I guess, out there. And specifically today, I'm going to discuss the two-pronged approach that they take. It's kind of an interesting challenge. It's basically whoever claims absolute knowledge first wins. Most of the people that he's dealing with are honest enough to say, well, I could be wrong about stuff, I could be wrong about everything, and then all Cy has to do is say, well, I've got revealed divine knowledge, and the argument's pretty much over at that point. There's not really anywhere else you can go from there, because anytime that the non-believer tries to make a point, he just says, how do you know that? You already said you don't know anything. I think early on he was even just walking away from arguments at that point. I'm not sure how that helps accomplish any kind of an end goal, but from some of the videos I've seen, I think winning is really important, I guess. So this first video is going to deal with the concept of using your reasoning to justify your reasoning, which Cy Tenbergen Kate claims is a viciously circular argument. And I would like to say that I don't think it is. And my reason for that, I think, is that reasoning for an adult especially is analogous to a toolbox. And I will just explain that forthwith. So when we discuss things like reasoning and knowledge, what we're really talking about is tools. And it goes a little something like this. When we're an infant, of course, we don't have much knowledge. We certainly don't have much in the way of reasoning skills, and over time we acquire knowledge, and of course knowledge it builds upon the shoulders of other knowledge, and we use our sense data, we use confirmation, we use feedback from our environment, and we use repetition. And over time, I mean, babies are great little scientists. We learn about the world around us. And of course, as we get older, when we reach the point of being, say perhaps elderly, we're equated with having a certain level of wisdom, which we don't normally equate with infancy. So we're building a set of tools, and I would say that it's something that's quite comparable to actual tools. So if you were a home handyman, you might have a certain amount of tools around the house. You might be able to change your own oil, you might be able to build a small fence, but that's probably about it. You'd have some basic knowledge of how to use those tools, maybe just enough to get yourself into trouble. If you were an apprentice mechanic, you might have more tools, and you would be learning how to work on vehicles, and you might have a little bit of a clumsy approach to certain things, but you would be gaining knowledge. And as you become a journeyman mechanic, you're going to have a lot more knowledge. You're going to start to understand how fasteners react, say a seized fastener, what's the best method of removing that. You're going to have a lot more of your own tools and a good understanding of how to use those. If you progress to shop owner, then you're going to have a facility, you're going to have a lot of shop equipment, specialized tools, and a real specialized, honed knowledge of how to use those tools, how to make diagnoses on vehicles. You'll have a lot of specialty equipment. You may use some tools intuitively for purposes other than they were intended. You might modify some tools to suit a certain purpose, or you may even make some of your own tools. And I think this is something that really demonstrates our reasoning abilities. It's certainly, if you were using one piece of sense data to verify that same piece of sense data, in other words, if I was using what my eyes saw to validate what my eyes saw, this would be circular. I'm not sure about the viciously part. There's a little bit of hyperbole there, but Using your reasoning to justify your reasoning is a far different animal, because where even you could just use one piece of sense data to validate another piece of sense data. If you're walking barefoot in the lawn and you step in something squishy, you could probably use your eyesight and your smell, hopefully not your taste, to verify what you stepped in. And of course, reasoning is far more complex than that. This is a multifaceted toolbox, and it's something that's gleaned over a lifetime. And really, the sad part about most non-believers or atheists that are arguing with the apologist, with the presuppositional apologist, is that they fall into the trap of admitting that they could be wrong about everything they claim to know, which they don't actually believe. And it's not actually a case that the apologist is making from belief themselves. They don't believe that. It's a parlor trick. It's a trap. And unfortunately, I think it's an attempt at being overly honest on the part of the atheist. Whether or not it's honest, it's certainly not accurate. We certainly, obviously, couldn't go through our lives and have any kind of success at all if we actually, were wrong about everything, or even a bunch of things that we claim to know. And, the honesty of like the brain in a vat argument is really lost on the apologist, except that they're using it as a tool. They don't believe you're a brain in a vat. And really, even if you were a brain in a vat, you're still subject to this reality, and you're still successful in this reality based on your reasoning through sense data and acquired knowledge, repetition, and confirmation, such that it really is unimportant whether or not you are a brain in a vat. You're still doing what you need to do in this existence to make your way through life. So I think that's the first point. The first point is that reasoning is a toolbox, a vast collection of tools that we use to cross-reference and cross-verify. And I think it's dishonest, and I think that the apologist really knows that. But it's amazing how effective it is, especially, I suppose, when someone like Sai has ironed this and honed and precisely worked over his approach. Most of the people that he finds, say when he's preaching on the street or at a college campus, haven't thought about it this deeply, and so they're not ready for these questions, and they're just trying to be honest. And unfortunately, when you're dealing with an apologist, honesty may not necessarily win you any favors. Thanks for watching. We'll see if I make any more videos. I've got lots to say on the apologetics, the presuppositional argument, because it's full of holes and full of flaws, and it's full of some holes that I haven't really seen anybody address, and that's why I'm making these videos. So we'll see how it goes. We may or may not see some more of me. Thanks for watching.